Hi guys, we're gonna mix the orange value scale today, and before we get started I want to make sure that we are preloading our brush. So we're gonna dip it in water, let it soak it all up, and get it ready to go so it can actually accept the paint. Now we're mixing the orange value scale today, so we're gonna mix orange first. We need to pick whichever orange, and it does not matter which one you pick. I just happen to be doing the warm and warm, so I'm using the cadmium red and the primary yellow. Again, you can use any orange you want for this to work. I just particularly like this orange and I find it easy to work with. When mixing, you're going for a 50-50 split, but you always want to be judging and deciding, is this too red, is it too yellow? This is a orange value scale, so we do want to make sure that the color actually turns out orange. Now I have this chronic problem of the document camera looking more red than it actually is. So you might be seeing that it looks red-orange when it is actually orange. Okay, so I'm scraping off excess because you don't want a whole lot of paint in your brush. You just want it on the tip of the brush. And then we're painting in the middle square. So it'll be the fourth square from the right. Okay, from here we are going to start mixing our tones. So in order to get a darker version of a color, we have to add its complement. Well, if we're dealing with orange, the complement of orange is blue. I'm using the cerulean blue, and I'm going to be adding some of the orange to the blue. And I'm just using the blue that's on my brush and mixing it in because it can overpower very quickly. Now orange, you're not going to get a true black at the end. You're going to get something that looks like a deep brown. So what I'm mixing here is just a very, very dark orange. Don't worry that it doesn't look super black. That's not the goal for this kind of color. Now I unfortunately got this out of frame, but what I'm doing is trying to make sure my mixture doesn't look too blue. The blue can easily overpower the orange, so I'm coming in and I'm just mixing and mixing and mixing and trying to make sure I have all of that blue mixed in thoroughly with the orange and it doesn't become too cool of a color. Okay. So once painted and once dry, it actually does become very dark, but it will look like a dark brown. It is a pretty nice color if you are coming up with some earthy tones. That particular orange and blue combination makes a very nice brown. Okay, so I'm now adding more orange into that brown mixture because we are going towards the right, so we are getting more and more towards that original orange hue. So this one should be a step down in value. So it's not going to be as dark as the leftmost one, but it should still be considerably darker than the original hue. So you can see in this picture, it is more of a reddish tone, like a reddish brown. And in real life really does read about a step lighter than the left one. So moving more right, we're just going to keep adding more of that original orange in. And then this one is going to be mostly orange with a little bit of cerulean blue. You can see where I initially added the blue on the plate, and then I didn't even touch that again. I just used the blue that was on my brush. That's how little paint that you want to be using for this. It can very quickly get out of hand when you're adding gobs of paint. And you don't want to be putting paint directly on paint. So if I was to add that blue, I wouldn't add it right on top of my orange mixture. I add it to the side, and then I have a little more control as I'm mixing. Okay, I cut away for a second and finished painting the rest of the hues in there. And so now you have the original orange hue, and then all of the tones, all of the gray, grayed out tones of that orange by adding blue to it. So now we're going to head right, and we're going to add the tints of it. So we're going to be mixing our original orange hue with white. And so again, like I was saying, where you don't want to combine it directly onto it, you're going to put the white off to the side. You're going to try to get most of the orange out of your brush, and then you're going to be mixing the orange into the white. You never want to mix the white into orange. The orange is going to overpower the white very quickly, and you can just end up wasting a lot of white trying to get that light enough. So you want to start small with the orange and add it to the white first. And I like to go all the way to the right first because I like to decide what my lightest hue is going to be, and that can dictate the 2 steps in between. Now I've cut some streakiness here, so I'm going to have to remix for a while, blend that in. That was just me being in a hurry and not mixing my paints properly. So you can see much better on the second round. It's going on much more consistently. Okay, and very much like we did with the tones, we're going to be adding more orange to that white. Again, not white to orange, orange to white. You always want to add color to white. So you can already see on the palette that looks a step darker than our initial color. And I like to leave a little bit of the initial color to give myself a reference point. So if I'm like, oh, is this dark enough? Is this light enough? I can easily see because it's on my palette there. Okay, and last one, again, we're adding more and more orange to that white mixture, just moving it over. And because it's our last color, it can be a little more free with it. I'm going to be trying to go a step down from that original orange, so it's going to be mostly orange with a little bit of white paint in it. right, and there you have it. Pretty nice orange scale there.